And the better we get at trusting our inner knowing and our gut feeling, the less um, able people are around us, whether they're in our immediate family group or friends, or they're just higher up in the world, to control us. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. Today's topic is gut feeling. As we know from the name of this YouTube channel, which is called Soulful Intuitive, we will go over intuition, gut feeling, inner knowing, inner wisdom over and over again, because that is one of the main reasons why we started this YouTube channel, to help our audience gain trust in their gut feelings and tap into their inner knowing and connect with the universal energy and get centered. The reason why I picked this topic is because a few days ago I was listening to one of the channels that I get my news from, and there was a news topic in regards to a certain disease that we have been dealing with for the past 3 years, and the fact that finally the authorities in US are admitting that it originated at a certain lab in China. And I remember 3 years ago when, as hairstylists, we were working before the lockdowns, and we were hearing about this disease starting to spread all around the world. We were told a certain narrative, that certain bat landed certain place, and then it landed at a meat market, and then people ate it, and so on and so forth. And almost immediately, I felt like this is not true, even though there was almost no evidence at hand. But going back to that gut feeling, the feeling when we know without even knowing why, it's just that knowing, if that's the truth, which some might call unscientific. However, when we actually look into FBI and all these cold cases that are solved using certain psychics or mediums and people who basically work for CIA, who have even given TED Talks on just tapping into their intuition, having visions, even drawing maps of certain places of the world that they've never been to. And then we know that there are plenty of times and there are plenty of cases where we don't have the evidence, we don't have the numeric data, but we know. And the better we get at trusting our inner knowing and our gut feeling, the less able people are around us, whether they're in our immediate family group or friends, or they're just higher up in the world, to control us and call us uneducated, ignorant, and crazy, and all the names that are normally used in order to bring us down. And the reason why 3 years later, now we are hearing that there's evidence, um, and that 3 years ago, people who didn't really believe that narrative were called crazy. And now 3 years later, the same people who called them crazy are saying that it doesn't really matter when it came from. But the topic of this video is really not about that disease. It's about a topic that we all have dealt with all around the world, which is important because certain topics are just regional. Certain topics, belong to a certain family, but this topic belongs to the world, and we all dealt with it. Whether you live in Asia, Africa, Europe, America, Australia, it doesn't matter. We were told something that collectively on this planet people didn't believe. And that, my friends, should be reason enough for us to know that there is such a thing as gut feeling. And you don't need to have a polygraph test all the time in order to know who's lying and who's not. And if we give that gut feeling attention, if we use it all the time, then that gut feeling, just like any other muscle, becomes stronger and stronger to the point that then in life we can use it as a navigation tool, because we don't always have the luxury of having data and information at hand in order to make a logical decision. So it's really great when we can pair our gut feeling with information. Then our decision is going to be bulletproof. However, in many times and many cases in our lives, we will come to a point where we don't have the information. Now, sometimes information takes a day or two, and sometimes information takes like 50 years or 60 years. Like, for example, when JFK assassination happened, everybody knew that it was an assassination and not done by one crazy person. Let's call him a lone man. Everybody knew that this was coordinated on a higher level, and now 50, what is it, 60 years later, they're just because they're being forced to release more and more information, we're finding out that yes, CIA had a major hand at coordinating that assassination. So then people who were coming up with all these theories were called crazy conspiracy theorists, and for a good reason. That term was invented to discredit those people who either had some information or just like a certain disease that we all knew didn't come from eating bats. People just had a feeling that nope, this is too much of coordination. This was in the daylight. This assassination just doesn't make sense. And to stupidify people and to make them feel like they're stupid and they don't understand anything about anything is a very old tactic, because the bigger the lie, the stupider they think that we are. And then some of us start questioning our own gut feeling. I was listening to Dr. Gabor Mate yesterday on my way to work, and he was on some podcast talking about gut feeling. And he was talking about this scientist that during the Ronald Reagan inauguration and his rise to power, was studying these patients who all suffered from a certain disease or a certain part of their brain that processes words just stop working. So they only were understanding others by studying your body language and the gut feeling that they had towards you. So he said when Ronald Reagan was being sworn in as president, all of these patients, except for a few, started laughing because they thought it was a joke, even though they had no idea verbally what was going on. They couldn't hear the words, they couldn't hear the news. But basically, the ha 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 was mainly about his body language and their gut feeling, and some of them were angry. Some of them were angry. And so this was showing that even when your brain is not able to process, your gut feeling is, which is the most beautiful thing. And so I was going to read from his book, because I think that part is also in his book, but I just didn't do it this time. But because I also don't want to read this book out loud for people. I want people to go buy that book, because I think everybody has to have a copy, The Myth of Normal. But he was not even like talking about that book per se. He was just talking about gut feeling and how important it is for us to not accept what we're told by people in the position of authority when that information does not align with how we feel and how we know on the inside. So there's been plenty of times. For example, me growing up, I was told by a lot of people that being gay was against nature, that I'm basically a sinner, that I am less than animals because even animals don't have homosexuality, which, by the way, was a lie. And the more I tried to go against my gut feeling, the worse things got for me. And, um, and it didn't matter who those people were. They were like teachers whom I loved. There were, like older people. There were some psychologists, and so back in the day, there was no internet. There was no way of really gathering information as fast as it is possible to do these days. So then I would just start questioning my own gut feeling because I was feeling, well, okay, I don't understand why I was made a certain way because, well, as a gay man or a lesbian woman or trans, we go way back into, our childhood, like when, as far as we can remember, and then you start like remembering what you liked, and that has nothing to do with sex. It is your tendencies. It is your juvenile daydreaming. It's what brings you joy. It's your inclinations, and the more I questioned it, the more I was certain that these people are not telling me the truth because I was made that way. Nobody around me was gay. There was no gay programming on TV because some people like to think that, oh, because of watching Will and Grace, for example, or a TV show that has gay characters, then all of a sudden the kids become confused. No. Actually, almost everything that I watched on TV had straight characters, and that did not change me at all. It did not make me want to look at the opposite sex in the way that other straight men do in any way. So if programming was that powerful, then all the gay men and straight or lesbians or and trans people would have turned out straight, and I was told a lie that did not align with my gut feeling, because deep in my heart I knew that I was not a bad person, because I had certain tendencies in terms of what gender I felt at peace with, and my journey started off as being told that I should turn off my gut feeling and listen to the authority. So I'm big time against listen to authority because they have a stick in their hand. Of course, authority has a place in our lives. We all have an authority figure deep inside of us, and collectively, of course, as a society, we will have authority. However, authority should not use that power in order for us to go against our nature. And what I'm referring to as going against your nature is declining the information that your gut feeling is telling you and drawing in, because we as humanity did not come this far if it wasn't for our gut feeling and intuition, because we didn't always have the tools, we didn't always have the science. So we would draw in, for example, shamans in Africa and Amazon, they would like draw in, and they would get in touch with that gut feeling, and they would know where to go to hunt that day. They would know if fear or if danger was nearing them, or and some of them could even predict famines or other natural disasters, because that was our tool. And we have been given this tool to use it, not to make fun of it, and not to put it in a trunk and only go to it once in a blue moon, but really use it on a daily basis and be very aware what does that feel like in our body when our gut feeling is communicating with us. And also, what does it feel like when we repress it? Because when we repress our gut feeling, then we are a perfect toys in the hands of those who just want to control us and tell us otherwise. And collectively, as humans, if we wake up to the power that lives deep inside of us, then nobody can lie to us anymore. And it doesn't matter if it's the person who's lying to us is young or old or man or woman or everything in between. It doesn't matter how much power they have. It doesn't matter how much charisma they have, because the gut feeling is a bullshit detector. And if we haven't learned anything in the past couple of years about certain hesitancies that we had in terms of following certain rules or not following certain rules, and what fear plays a role in basically muting our gut feeling, and why fear is always used. Doesn't matter whether it came from church or mosque or news conferences or broadcasters or politician. It always has one purpose, and that is to dull your gut feeling, your intuition, so you then voluntarily put a leash around your neck and hand it to those who want to guide you in a certain direction because it suits them and not us. So that's a very important topic. That is so valuable. Like, that is something that's so dear to my heart, because I have navigated so far in life learning that whenever I went against my gut feeling, I came to pay a price, and sometimes a hefty price. And whoever made fun of me for being intuitive or knowing before the facts came out, um, ended up either denying the fact that they did make fun of me, or they did not take me seriously, or went the other way. Very few of them admitted that they were wrong. And I'm not saying that I'm always right. And this is not about me. This is about gut feeling and my experience with gut feeling. And the examples that I used had nothing to do with health per se. But for example, the certain disease touched the whole planet. So everybody knew how they felt in the beginning, how they felt in the middle, and how they're feeling now, which is coming to an end of this chapter. And where fear came in, what fear made them do and say and act, how much of their gut feeling and intuition they had to step on, and how they reacted towards other people that just knew, and how we use words to hurt others, putting them down as either ignorant or right or left, or uneducated or deplorable or right wing or left wing or racist, or like all these labels that actually are created by people who use fear in order to control us, because really we're all the same, and really we all have the same tools. And if we open our gut feeling, then our hearts will open. And when we open our heart, then we're all connected. So nobody can put us in a box, different boxes, so we can do infighting, and we can just discredit each other and call all each other names. And, somehow we feel like middle school and high school for a lot of us is behind us. But really, we bring those experiences into adulthood, and sometimes until the day we die, we just call each other names. We cover our ears and la 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 because we don't want to hear it, even when time shows us that maybe we were on the wrong side of certain things. We were maybe scared off to act a certain way, and these fears are always brought to us on purpose. And the reason behind it is for us to lose our power. And our power is that gut feeling, that knowing, that connectedness, that force inside of us that tells us that we're all the same and we all need to hold hands and unite. And once we give up that power, then we are just drops and not the ocean. But really, what we are is the ocean. We are the ocean. And the certain figures and certain forces that hold the authority places in the world and in our community and even in our families, unfortunately, do not benefit from unions and do not benefit from being intuitive, do not benefit from us being wise because we have the library of wisdom inside of us. All we need to do is just to use our membership card. But a lot of us have thrown out that card and have even forgotten that this vast knowledge is residing inside of us and we can use it to not only benefit ourselves but benefit others. I am really excited that I've opened this chapter of intuition and gut feeling discussion, and I would love it if every single one of you turn to someone you love and trust and feel close with and talk about it and use your own examples in the past so many years of your life to reference what it feels like to be aligned with gut feelings and what it feels like to be away from it or worse to repress it. And just like that we can spread the word. Obviously it's for some people it's a foreign concept, so it takes them a while to get familiar with it and to accept it and not to label themselves as unscientific or stupid or superstitious. I mean, like there are a lot of ways and a lot of words that have been used in order to people question themselves and put this powerful weapon on the table and walk away. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I am going to talk about it more and more and more, but from different approaches and from different topics that are examples that can maybe make it more palatable to all of us from all walks of life and from all ages and all cultures. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.